all of you. I can see Professor Mini here as well, and others who've joined us. Very, very warm welcome to all of you for joining us. So I welcome you today to today's exciting webinar, which is titled Enhancing Coastal Management Interactions with the Coastal Communities in the Tropical Waters. And it is with great pleasure that we all from the Maritime Research Center team welcome you all. So beginning, I'd like to speak a little bit about the coastal communities, and they lie at the heart of India's maritime heritage. And as we all know that they face many challenges, from the impacts of the climate change to the unsustainable practices, the task of managing our coast has never been more urgent than it is right now. But it is not all doom and gloom. Digital transformation has opened up many new opportunities to help us bridge the gap between the technology and the traditions. So the Maritime Research Center, with support from Climacrew and NTT, conducted 2 field visits in the span of 4 months. We conducted our first field visit in the month of November 2024 in the coastal region of Maharashtra. The coastal regions are called as Ratnagiri and Guhagar. And the second field visit was undertaken in the month of February 2025 in the coastal region area of Gujarat, which is called Veraval. So during both the visits, our first goal was to introduce Maritime Research Center to the local community, ensuring that people were informed about who we are, what we do, and how our offerings could benefit their specific needs. This visit was a crucial opportunity for us to build relationships, establish trust, and communicate how our technologies, particularly in data collection and marine research, align with the needs of the local stakeholders. We also aim to understand what kind of support or collaboration was required from the community to facilitate them with the deployment of our technology and assist in data collection ways. And the trip's second primary focus was assessing the feasibility and potential benefits of deploying our in-house area production yield, which is APY tool, in the local aquaculture sector, specifically for the shrimp and seaweed farming. The tool is designed to optimize farming practices, enhance sustainability, and improve the yield production. Our team engaged with local farmers and aquacultural professionals to discuss how the APY tool could be integrated into their operations and improve the productivity. So as we move forward, the lineup is such that you will see, our internal team members making presentations. We have Shlok with us, we have Shreya with us, we have Ayush with us, all the team members who were very dedicatedly involved during both the field visit that we did in the coast of Maharashtra and Gujarat. And I think besides me explaining to you how the visit was and everything, I think you will get a much more first-hand experience from these people because they were directly involved and they were directly interacting with the farmers on ground during those periods of the field interactions. So today's webinar, we bring together a diverse and knowledgeable group of experts, researchers, policymakers, and most importantly, the voices of the fisher folks from India's coastal communities. Together, we are going to engage in an open dialogue on the pressing issues and opportunities related to coastal and riverine management, particularly in the tropical waters. Before we begin, here are just few housekeeping points to ensure a smooth experience for everyone. I would request the audience to keep their microphones off while the speakers are speaking, so that there are no background noises, especially when the speaker or the presenter is making the presentation. For all the key participants, speakers, and presenters, please stick to the time duration that has been originally allotted to you as per the the agenda note which was shared with you. So would request if all of us can stick to those time limits. Apart from that, for those of you from the audience side, if you have any questions, you can post your questions in the chat box. We might take the questions at the end of the all the presentations and all the keynote addresses. That is when we can have the time slot and we can have your questions up. We have an exciting lineup of speakers who will share their valuable insights today. So without further delay, let me hand over the mic to Dr. Commander Arnab Das for the opening remarks. So introducing a little bit about Dr. Commander Arnab Das, he is the founder and director of the Maritime Research Center, which is an organization that is driving this unique concept of underwater domain awareness. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nishta. Thank you, everybody. And Really appreciate the participation of all our speakers and guests. Very important uh, event for us as at MRC, because the community connect is very important. What we build on a strategic level, on a high-end technology level, has to reach the ground, is what our primary focus is. And with that focus, we tried to reach out to two coastal regions. One was in the Maharashtra coast on the Konkan side, and the second one was in the Veraval, I mean, in the Gujarat coast. Uh, Idea was to understand the diversity also, because the diversity of the coastal community has to be understood. And the reason we have invited participants from, I mean, our esteemed speakers from Philippines and from Japan is also to understand, and also to tell them, the kind of work we are doing, and also get some inputs from them, so that what we are building has to be relevant to the coastal community. And so we have sequenced it in such a way that our colleague Shlok, who has built these work, and of course our other team members are also involved, because we have built a platform now which is much more matured, which can be kind of extended across multiple applications. And this is a promise from our side, that every month we are doing one such session of innovation, where we are reaching out in terms of what kind of innovation we have done and how they are relevant to real world problem solving. So with that, and there was a lot of preparation that went behind sending our team for this. And even while our team was at the field, the entire rest of the team, which is spread across various cities and even countries, they were all available throughout to support them and make sure that any query or comment that is raised is addressed. So it's a very important thing for us. And today, I'm not going to spend too much time trying to explain or trying to say things, but I would like to hand over back to Nishtha to take it forward. And I want to take less time in uh, doing any kind of talking today. So back to you, Nishtha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the thought-provoking opening remarks and for giving an encouragement to all of us, especially the ones who have the presentations today. Next, we have with us Ayush Sawat, who is a research engineer at the Maritime Research Center, and he will be sharing his insights from the two coastal locations in India, which is Veraval and Ratnagiri. Ayush's presentation will provide a ground-level view of the challenges faced by the local communities and the impact digital tools in these regions can have. So Ayush, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Nishta. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I am Ayush Sawat, a research engineer at the Maritime Research Center, and I will be discussing UDA digital transformation and environmental insights. So I will take you through a field visit to Ratnagiri and Veraval, where we focused on using UDA to drive digital transformation and address environmental challenges in seaweed farming. We at MRC, we are committed to support coastal communities through sustainable solution, and these visits gave us first-hand insights into their lives and challenges, from roping seaweed with the woman in Guhagar to reseeding tube nets near the Somnath temple. We learned a lot about what works and what doesn't on the ground. So let's start with why we visited Ratnagiri and Veraval. Our main goal was to understand the real challenges coastal community face in their livelihood, especially in seaweed farming and fishing. So we wanted to see how technology like our API tool could make aquaculture more sustainable and to build partnership with local groups for long-term impact. For example, in Ratnagiri, we met fishermen in Kasar Valley who shared how unpredictable catches and low market prices make their lives tough. They often earn just 1 to 1.5 lakh rupees annually after spending 4 to 5 lakh per fishing trip. So in Veraval, farmers told us that they also invest 8 to 9 lakh for a 4 month of seaweed season, but cyclones and price manipulation by big corporate companies leave them with a 50-50 chance of profit. So this all insights drove our objective in four main agendas. That is the introduction of MRC's mission to the locals, and then field validation, like validating our tool on ground, then identifying gaps in policy, technology, research, and skilling, and lastly, to conduct a social impact assessment through the lens of UDA to ensure our solution benefit both the community and the environment. So this visit were about listening and learning as much as they were about introducing our work. Now, let's talk about the digital transformation we are bringing to these communities through our APY tool. So, Shlok has already demonstrated the tool in detail. So, the overall idea is to help seaweed farmers to predict their yields right from the first day of cultivation so that they can plan better and reduce losses. For instance, in Ratnagiri, we learned from Climacrew team that seaweed needs specific condition to thrive, like salinity should be between 32 and 36, pH should be around 7 to 8, and temperature should be between 30 and 34 degrees Celsius. And if one of these parameters drop, like during the rainy season when salinity can fall below 30, the seaweed can get affected and might die. So our tool, APY tool, uses sensors to track this condition and runs an algorithm to predict yields with up to 98% accuracy based on internet data. And we are also working to make it 100% with on-ground data. We introduced this tool to farmers in both Ratnagiri and Veraval, and their reactions were eye-opening. So let's move to the field feedback on our APY tool. In Veraval, we demonstrated the tool to Climacrew's team and local farmers near their seaweed farm by the Somnath temple. We showed them how the sensors measure parameters like salinity, temperature, and how our algorithm predicts the yield for the 45th day of the cultivation right from the day one. And the locals were very excited. Mr. Milan, a senior scientist at Climacrew, was particularly impressed by how the tool could help them optimize growth, especially since they have already seen good yields in Veraval, like 200 kg of seaweed growing to 1 to 2 tons in a cycle. So the farmers saw the APY tool as a way to reduce the guesswork in their seaweed activity. One of the farmers also told, if we know the yield on the first day, we can plan better and not lose money. Even in Ratnagiri, when we presented to Mahila Arthik Vikas Mandal group, they were also very much convinced of its potential, saying it could be very useful to farmers for improving productivity. So this excitement shows us the tool's real world value to these communities. While the enthusiasm was clear, the farmers also gave us practical feedback on security concerns for the APY tools sensors, which needed to be developed in the water. Like in Ratnagiri, Climacrew's microbiologist Pranit shared a story that stuck with us. So one night their monitoring sensors and camera got stolen from a site. And they also were worried about sensors getting entangled with the seaweed if tied inside a raft, or rusting due to high salinity, even if made of stainless steel. So high tides and sudden wind currents could also sweep them away. So this is where there's a difference between climatic condition in both these locations. Because in Veraval, the locals were more optimistic and offered solutions. They suggested like integrating an alarm system into the sensors. So if someone or something comes near, it will alert them. Since they live close to the farm, they could quickly respond. And they also proposed floating the sensors alongside the seaweed using empty bottles, a method they already use for tube nets. Another good idea was to get permission from the Marine Police, whose station is near the Somnath temple, to secure the area. One farmer also said, like, if the Marine Police are involved, no one will dare to touch the sensors. So all this feedback was very crucial. It showed us how to make the tool practical and secure in real world conditions. So on day two of our Veraval visit, we spent around 4 to 5 hours on a boat near the Somnath temple, fully immersed in the seaweed harvesting and reseeding process with the local farmers. So these are some of the images that we captured our experience. Like start from the watching swimmers adjusting tube nets, cleaning seaweed to remove microalgae, and reattaching it with the funnel pipes, all while empty bottles kept the nets afloat. It was a very good hands-on lesson in their resilience, working through the challenging condition and a chance to connect with them as they shared insights about their 50-50 risk in seaweed farming. So these moments highlight the teamwork and the overall dedication that defines their livelihood. Then in the left video, you can see which is from Veraval when we were on the boat witnessing the tube net method of seaweed farming. And in the right video from Ratnagiri, Maharashtra, you can see women from Parivartan Foundation got involved in the roping process of seaweed, which showcased the woman empowerment. So before we dive into the specific environmental challenges that we observe, I want to set the stage by highlighting why this issue matters so much to the coastal communities. Seaweed farming and fishing aren't just the livelihoods, they are a way of life deeply tied to the health of marine environment. But as we learned during our visit, the ocean is a tough place to work. From unpredictable weather to shifting ecosystem, the farmers and fishermen face a constant hurdles that threaten their yields and their future. So let's break down the key challenges and identify. Starting with the key issue, first, depletion, overfishing and pollution are stressing marine ecosystem. In Ratnagiri, a fisherman from Kasarveli told us that fish stocks are very much declining because of overfishing in nearby areas, forcing them to go further into the sea, which increases their cost and risk. And in Veraval, also sediment shift reduce the overall fish stock. Then second, the seasonal constraint which limits the seaweed growth. In Ratnagiri, Climac-Crew team explained us that the winter lowers temperature, causing seaweed discoloration. They can only harvest for 7 to 8 months, excluding the rainy season. And in Veraval, also Mr. Milan noted while they get better growth in winter compared to Bedwarka, which is one of their site in Gujarat. But monsoon still brings high wave currents that challenge their tube net method. Then third, biological threats like fish bites and microalgae affect seaweed growth. In Veraval, Mr. Milan shared that at their Betwarka site, microalgae got attached to seaweed and slowed their growth. A problem less severe in Veraval. But again, fish bites were also a major concern. These challenges show like how the environment can be, how tough the environment can be for coastal livelihood. Then weather extremes like cyclones, monsoons wreak havoc on seaweed cultivation. In Veraval, farmer told us like cyclones can appear at any time, destroying their farms overnight. So one farmer said like we invest 8 to 9 lakhs for 4 months, but cyclone can wipe it all before the season ends. In Ratnagiri also, Swaroop from Climac Cruise team mentioned that high wind currents often lead to cyclonic condition, making it hard to keep rafts stable. Then water condition variability also threatens the seaweed survival. Swaroop correctly also explained that if seaweed's color fades within 2 to 3 days, it won't grow properly because the carrageenan pigment, which gives its red color, fades in unsuitable water. In Veraval, while conditions are much more favorable, as Mr. Milan noted on that they still face challenges during monsoon due to high wave current, which can damage even their flexible tube nets. So these environmental hurdles highlight the need for tool and strategies to help farmers adapt. Now, this brings us to the role of underwater domain awareness, which ties our work together. UDA drives sustainable aquaculture by integrating technology, environmental insights, and community needs into actionable solutions. It's about understanding the underwater world to make better choices for both people and planet. So first, UDA empowers decision making with clear underwater insights. In Veraval, our research fellow Shlok showed farmers how the APY tool uses UDA to monitor condition and predict yields, helping them decide when to plant or harvest. Then second, UDA also enhances sustainability by balancing resources used with the marine health. Like at Bet Dwarka, we saw natural ulwa seaweed blooms, confirming optimal growth condition. So in Ratnagiri, farmers lack tools to predict cyclones, but UDA can provide like early warning system. Finally, UDA strengthens collaboration. In Veraval, we held a meeting on a boat with Dr. Arnab Das sir and Sridhar sir joining virtually. So fishermen shared how big companies buy fish at 100 to 150 rupees per kg, but sell at 800 to 900 rupees, leaving them with a very little profit. So UDA help us to document all these gaps and advocate for policies like minimum selling price, connecting locals, tech, and policy for solution that stick. So overall, the UDA is how we ensure our work makes a real difference. Now, lastly, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Clima Crew team for the incredible support throughout our visit and also their deep connection with the local community, which made it possible for us to engage so meaningfully with the farmers and fishermen. And this visit wasn't just about the research, it was about building trust, learning from the group ground up, and forging partnership that will shape a more sustainable future for these coastal communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayush. Thanks for your valuable insights and for sharing your experience of the visit with all of us. So next we will move on to Shreya Wagmare, who is also a research engineer at the Maritime Research Center. So with Ayush, Shreya was the one who, who went down to the coastal regions in Maharashtra and Gujarat to actually take forward the field interactions and field visit with the coastal communities. And today, Shreya is going to be making a presentation on the topic enhancing coastal management, community and policy insights from the Ratnagiri and Veraval field visit. So over to you, Shreya.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shreya Wagmare, and I'm currently working as a research engineer at MRC. So, today I'll be discussing about the insights from the field visit to the coast of Ratnagiri in Maharashtra and Veraval in Gujarat, which were hosted by the Clima Crew team. And we'll explore how community experiences can shape the coastal management, and we'll deep dive into the community part on as well. And I'll also mention about the policy lessons that we had during the discussion with the locals. So let's get started. Yes. So first, let's understand the geography of the locations we explored. So first, we had a visit to the coast of Ratnagiri, Maharashtra, where we went to different locations like Guhagar, Ganpatipure, and Ratnagiri. So please allow me a moment further during my presentation to explain these images I attached in the right. So these locations are the mostly places where seaweed cultivation is happening, or either we met a locally working organization or SSG or team. So after Ratnagiri, our next phase was to visit Veraval in the state of Gujarat. So in Gujarat, we spent more than a week. We had a chance to explore Veraval thoroughly and explore the coast of Okha as well. So we had a very informative sediment related inputs as well that you can see in the right bottom image. So already as my colleagues Shlok and Ayush has explained about the technology and innovation part, and Ayush has explored most of the community comments for the APY tool as well. So, and also we saw how UDA and digital transformation can be a game changer in the coastal management. So now I will shift gear to the human side. These tools are only as good as the people uh, who live in. So let's see how they fit into the lives of coastal community. So I'll give you the insights of what goals we had in mind, what actually happened there, and what actually happened there, and one cultural moment that we shared with the locals. And then lastly, I'll just share the identified policy comments from those locals. So why focus on communities? Our visit goals were clear: understand local challenges, build trust with the community, and identify the collaboration opportunities. So now understanding the challenges they face, like at both the locations, we came across different challenges. Like geography itself make it challenging. For example, in Ratnagiri, we faced resource availability issue. And what I mean by that is availability of internet or electricity or commute as well. So due to such remote location, it sometimes gets difficult to get connected to the outer world, especially during the extreme weather conditions. Though at both locations, unpredictable income and limited resources seems to be the cause. As the image shows here, during the low tides, the locals were seen to be engaged in catching oysters, which happen only during low tides. So that is also seemed to be like an important resource of their income. Something same was observed in with Chandika fishing community as well. Low fish catch due to higher number of fishing boats make their chances very low. So moving ahead, building trust was the base of this visit. And without trust, we can't get the understanding of the problem they face. And without trust, we won't be able to do any open heart discussions with them as well. So I remember when the livelihood expert from climate group team, Mr. Bhushan, he said local communities may not be easily open to external parties. So we need to be very clear about what questions we want to ask, and trust start with listening. So even 50% of the fishermen here rely on the oral traditions that they have been hearing and doing regularly. So whether it is for weather prediction or catch prediction, that local knowledge is gold. So and the third is the collaboration opportunities. Third is the collaboration opportunities. So working on the field with locals gave us the front row seat to their knowledge. Our partner Kaimaklu made odd click that connecting our technology with their deep community ties, like the knowledge that we can't find in any manual. So it's a collaboration. We listen, we learn, and we build solutions side by side. So I'll say a few times today that technology alone isn't enough. We need to listen to the people who live and work here, and that's a starting point of the visit. So now moving towards the field visit insights from community. So as I shown earlier, both places are rich in their mesmerizing views of the ocean, but surely the change in location or the geography, climatic changes, and that changes the way of livelihood of the locals. So both the places has shown very different cultures as well. But the main thing which bonds them together is the vast Indian Ocean. So starting with Ratnagiri, I'm very thankful to Climaco team for arranging very informative and deep discussion meetings around it. So the first snap shows the initial discussion on the day one with Climaco team. And second one is the MAVI, Mahila Arthik Vikas Mahamandal of Ratnagiri district, which is a central government organization. And basically they help the uh, uh, women entrepreneurs in their livelihood. So we discussed around the complete seaweed farming process and the APY tool, and we also discussed the hierarchy of the work that they do. So this initial discussion set up the tone for the next few days during the visit. So in Ratnagiri, we made Chandika fishing community, where they explained the uncertainty of fishing. Like as the primary source of income, fishing is a very risky job, like whether they'll get the catch or not. So we discussed other aspects as well, like are there generational traditional traditions, and in future will they be continued or they'll find a job for their next generation. So also we identified that the community people were not aware of the government policies which support their livelihood. So there is a need of awareness as well. So as I mentioned, due to the limited resources, they are bound to the traditions and the traditional thing that they are doing. So awareness through digital transformation is something that can make a difference. Now to the next place with completely different geographical conditions, with the like access to internet, electricity, and proper commute as well. So and Veraval is also famous and known for the same Somnath temple, which is a tourist place which adds on the tourism as a part, like as an income source for the locals as well. So however, the fishermen community in Veraval faces the same issues, kind of like huge number of trawlers, almost more than 8,000 trawlers at the port, which reduces the probability of fish catch for everyone. So, during the fishing season, these boats sail across the Indian Ocean and they are month-long lasting trips. With Climber Crew team, we went to the waters as well and learn about the seaweed reseeding process, the stockings, and the importance of seaweed as it can be the second income source other than fishing. So creating entrepreneurs in the seaweed culture, we discussed that as well. So we met the fishermen who are involved in the seaweed farming. We discussed various type of problems they face during the fishing. So we had a chance to connect our MRC team to the local virtually. So on the boat itself, we had an amazing setup and the discussion. So during the discussion, Arnab Das sir and Sridhar sir and the MRC research team had very insightful discussions with the local. So from discussing the problems they face to identifying the gaps in research, skilling, innovation, and technology. So MRC team was able to convey the work and build that initial trust among the locals. So the trust matters. In Veraval, we joined the Kodiyar Jayanti festival where they celebrate goddess Kodiyar Mata, their coastal protector. So it's a big deal for the community bonds. These are some of the glimpses of the festival. MRC team with the fishermen come future entrepreneurs by Climacoon. So by participating, we build rapport, unlocking real talks about their needs and not just related to the problems, but beyond that discussing. So culture is not just a tradition; it's a bridge to the collaboration. So now during our end of the visit, our research team, Catherine, Romy, and Shlo had a very long discussion with locals. And the same menu already set the environment for the discussion. So we discussed points around sedimentation, aquaculture farming, and importance of blue economy. However, with the prior knowledge of these terms, the discussion went very meaningful with the locals. So I'm just highlighting the points we discussed like need of MSP. So without it, market dips for sales at very low cost, making loss to fishermen. Better market access so that intermediaries where they pocket up to almost 40% of the margin profits. Again, these are like discussed with the locals, but these terms could turn survival into the growth for them. So, what's the path forward? So, we weave together technology, the community voice, and the traditional knowledge, investing in skills, digital transformation, and completely rooting it all in sustainability. So, the stakes are high, but so is the reward for them. So, one local from Veraval told me, give us a fair shot and we'll show what we can do. So, I think UDA is that shot, and let's seize it together. So I would like to take a moment again to thank Climax team for their immense support and very kind hospitality. Thank you so much.
Thank Shreya, Ayush, and Shlok for their presentations and for giving like very good insights about the visits that happened to the coastal regions of the two states. So thank you, thanks to all three of you. Now we'll gain some international perspectives on coastal management. We are thrilled to have insights from experts in Philippines, a nation which is very similar to India when it comes to the coastal management challenges, I would say. So let's hear from our international guests now. First, we have with us Professor Mimi Fabe. A little bit introduction about her. She's a professor at the National Police College, Philippines. She's a maritime security researcher on the Indo-Pacific. Her expertise covers maritime domain awareness, cognitive warfare, counter-terrorist financing, preventing, countering violent extremism, and project monitoring and evaluation. She's a member of the editorial board of the Indonesia Police Agency. So I would like to call Professor Mimi Pabe to share her keynote address with us.
A pleasant good afternoon to all. I'm very happy to be part of this webinar and taking from the previous presentation of the excellent researchers of the Maritime Research Center, I would like to highlight the importance of people, nature, and economy, as Shlok has pointed out, as well as the importance also of listening to the silenced voices of the maritime communities. I'd like to share my presentation. Okay. Couldn't. Okay, I'll just proceed. Okay. Ms. Toledo and I co-founded the Indo-Pacific Alliance, an ocean think tank based in the Philippines. Our country has 267,000 kilometers of coastal communities, 46 million coastal warriors, and 38,000 barangays. Now, given this market, this addressed market. We are also aware that more than 50% of Philippine municipalities and cities are coastal, and that more than 50% of the animal protein intake in the Philippines is derived from marine fisheries. Currently, the coastal communities are also in charge of protecting 27,000 kilometers of coral reef and 120,000 hectares of mangrove. So in the Indo-Pacific Alliance think tank, we aim to achieve 5 areas. The first is to do research that will uplift the lives of Filipino coastal communities. And I have learned a lot from this webinar, the APY tool and the various tools being presented by the research engineers of the Maritime Research Center. The second point is empowering coastal warriors through livelihood projects, such as fish nuggets, fish burgers, fish tocino, and seaweed pastries. The third objective is to apply Indian indigenous technologies to assist coastal warriors in seaweed farming. Another objective is providing boats to indigenous fishing communities, specifically the Bajau Laut. And the fifth objective is to open schools in the open seas for coastal communities to upgrade their literacy. So the think tank is small, but it has a grand vision. And we have had the opportunity to link with the Southeast Asian ocean think tanks as well. And Ms. Toledo will discuss more on that later. So the research is to upgrade skilling of fishing folk in 5 coastal communities annually. Now we have 38,000 coastal villages. So we have to start with a few and then we expand. So we have to do it slowly with proper coordination, but with dedication. The second point is hopefully through our fellowship, future fellowship at the Maritime Research Center, we can learn, understand Indian indigenous technologies and know-how that can upgrade the livelihood of Philippine coastal communities. And finally, we want to uplift the welfare of the Bajau Laut, an indigenous peoples group with a population of 499,620 by providing them with boats and training them in seaweed farming. Now, from the security perspective, we can see that this Bajau Laut can help the government of the Philippines in ensuring maritime security because they are always at sea. And also in coordination with the Maritime Research Center, in the coming months, we are collaborating on the capacity building possibilities for the 255,000 strong Philippine Coast Guard officers that can benefit from the Maritime Research Center. In addition, Shreya mentioned that the maritime police is important in ensuring that the technologies are protected in the field. So the Philippines also has a 10,000 strong Philippine National Police Maritime Group. that can also benefit from the training in the Maritime Research Center. In addition, as a professor also of the Select Philippine Marine Corps and Special Operations Forces of the Navy, we can also open up opportunities for training for them with the Maritime Research Center in the future. So, with the leadership of Dr. Commander Arnab Das, I can already foresee an excellent partnership, not only with the Philippines, but also with the Coast Guard of Indonesia, Bakamla, of which we also give lectures, and also of the Malaysian Coast Guard. So this will just be the beginning, and the Philippines truly looks up to India because we bought our 2 missiles, ballistic missiles and the sophisticated missiles from India, and the military sector is very happy with that acquisition. Now we want to introduce my country to the underwater maritime domain awareness know-how of India. And with this partnership, this will be made possible. Thank you.
Very much, Professor Mimi Fabe, for your insightful remarks, for also helping us understand the possibilities that the Indo-Pacific Alliance holds. I think with this, we shall move on to the next speaker we have with us from Philippines. Let me now welcome Ms. Andrea Toledo. Ms. Andrea Toledo is the board.
Can I intervene? Ashwin sir has to leave. We'll request him to speak and then we'll request Toledo ma'am to come. Is that okay? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So can we have Mr. Ashwin Shroff, who's the chairman and managing director of the Excel Industries Limited, to share his keynote remarks with us?
Yeah. Well, first of all, good afternoon and hello to everyone. Sorry to interrupt the proceedings. And let me start with complimenting Dr. Das and the MRC team for organizing a wonderful, very educative seminar. And let me also compliment Shlok and the other 2 speakers who gave their thoughts. Also, they interacted with some of our CV team members, visited the 2 sites, Ratnagiri and Veraval, and interacted. So very happy. But I would like to compliment the Filipino guests who have come. You have been a pioneer in the CV field. So we would like to really respect you and learn from you. And there's a lot to learn and a lot to collaborate on. I think some of the thoughts that you shared, the word was used that you are a police woman. I was a little afraid. But I think the way you talked, it was very good thoughts. It was a very helpful police and not a very frightening police. So thank you very much. As we all know, one of the underlying things that kept on coming out was that the fishermen community is constantly under threat. The oceans are under threat. And as if the threats were not already bad enough, the climate change has worsened them. So fish catch has gone down and the productivity has gone down and all that. So with all that, I think what we need to do is to help the communities, but also help at the global level the climate change which is taking place, where I think the seaweeds can play a wonderful part. And since there is a good synergy between seaweed growing and fishing, I think, and the ocean, of course, is the medium through which we do it. I think it will be wonderful to combine, and the formal word for that, IMTA, where you combine both the things, grow it in the same place, is very much important. And I think there's a great potential for doing that. So India, with its long fishing tradition and seaweed has a new potential, we need to learn from wherever and also learn on our own and then take it forward where we will be able to take it to the right place, help the local communities who are under threat, help the global warming and help reverse that to some extent, and also provide a renewable raw material. for food, feed, fish, everything, fertilizer, everything. So it's a very versatile material. So I think there's a lot that can be done. Dr. Das, with your help, we would like to meet all the people, young people who presented their thoughts to us so that we can start interacting on the more intimate level. So we'll do that. So Shlok, you have been one of the, now I can call you a veteran. You have been around for more than 2 years in this field. We'll be happy to meet you. I believe you are Bombay based. So you and the other colleagues, we can meet sometime. I would like my colleague, Mr. Kapil Dev, who has been connected with us and also is a veteran of the oceans, to share a few thoughts.
I'll wait for you.
Okay, Kapil Dev will share it towards the end after the lady. So, my apologies to the Filipino friends for interrupting the discussion, but it was a very great learning. Thank you very much, Dr. Das. Thank you very much, all of you, for the wonderful sharing.
Thank you so much, Ashwin sir. So that was Mr. Ashwin Shroff, who's the chairman and MD of the Excel Industries Limited. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing the event with your presence. And it is under your leadership and commitment to sustainable practices that we've been able to make significant impact in the field of coastal management. Thanks a lot, sir. So now we'll move on to the next speaker. So now I'd like to call upon Ms. Andrea Toledo, who's the board member of Indo-Pacific Alliance, which is an ocean think tank based in Philippines, to share her thoughts with us.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I am Andrea Toledo, and I am one of the colleagues of Professor Amparo Pamela Fabe. And as a researcher for Indo-Pacific Alliance, as an ocean think tank, we have been cooperating with our partners in Indonesia and Malaysia. Since last year, we have been also coordinating in tracking down the recent phenomena of human trafficking that is being experienced at large by the sea people, specifically the Bajau Laut of not only the Philippines, but also the ones that are located in Sabah, Malaysia, and also in certain islands of Indonesia, including Kalimantan. And so we have had discussions as to how we can unify the different members and young leaders of the coastal communities. And one of the key challenges is also identifying educated sea people, which is very rare, especially in the Philippines, for the Bajau Laut to attain higher education that will allow them to openly participate in all the policies and the programs of the government. This is an approach that we need to review and see whether the old solutions need to be revisited. When I say that it needs to be revisited, most of the solutions of the local government units in the national government is to force the sea people to register for national IDs, whether that would be Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And so this is a clear imposition on the culture of the Bajau Laut, who refuse to get registered under any nation state. So one of the things that we have been discussing as collaboration in Indo-Pacific is that we propose the citizenship project, which is an endeavor wherein C, like SEA and citizenship, is just an effort for us to be able to recognize that the Bajau Laut, even if they refuse to have national IDs, that we will be able to have a system that will be shared across Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines, so that we can properly communicate with the Bajau Laut, who are, for the most part, at sea, and for those that have been who have fallen victim to human trafficking in areas, specifically in Mindanao, Davao City, Cagayan de Oro City, where the Bajau Laut in the pandemic there have been thousands that have agreed to participate as beggars in human trafficking rings because their boats have been rammed by PLA, by the CCP, and the difficulty to prove that their boats are being rammed because they don't even have cameras, they don't have smartphones to document what is happening, has pushed the Bajau Laut of the Philippines to they are already forced to just allow themselves to become targets for cyber pornography, for sex trafficking. And this is a very unfortunate development in the last 5 years. And so we see that there is a gap when it comes to how the government of the Philippines is addressing the needs of the sea people, even though between Malaysia and the Philippines is more open to providing programs and education for the Bajau Laut, even if they refuse to get any national ID. However, the education programs are requiring the Bajau Laut to go on land, and so we have been proposing that a floating school might be a better solution, so that there can be an integrated approach, that whenever we say bottom-top approach, bottom-top solutions are our priority, we feel that it must be reflected in terms of what kind of education platforms are we providing. So it is excellent that we have learned from our counterparts in India that there are AI solutions, apps that like the APY tool that for sure will be easy to cascade, but the challenge of encouraging our very big population of sea people to use such tools, and that would also minimize the issue of the national government when it comes to having proper monitoring and surveillance of what's happening in the West Philippine Sea and the coastal communities of the Philippines that are under threat with what we are facing because of the aggression of China. We would like to be able to learn more about solutions that we can bring to our region, from India to the to Asia Pacific, for Indonesia, Philippines, and Malaysia, to be able to use the advanced tools that are already tested in India, and see how it can be used by the sea people, and how we can integrate this with the boats that we are proposing to be given by our coast guards to our Bajau Laut. So we know that this is a gargantuan task. It's a big, dream also for the ocean think tanks across the Coral Triangle, that we can push for collaboration. But we are confident that with the technologies being provided and shared by our genius Indian counterparts, that we can definitely make more progress in a shorter period of time within the next 5 years. So thank you very much, and we look forward to learning more from our other maritime experts in Asia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Toledo, for your heartfelt insights and for sharing your experience and for enhancing our knowledge of the coastal management in the Philippines. So thanks to you, and thanks to Professor Mimi Fave, like both the colleagues that we had with us from the Philippines. And now next, we shall move on to the next speaker. We shall now hear from Dr. Imadul Islam from Sasakawa Foundation, Japan. His areas of expertise and interest lies in blue economy, climate change adaptation, disaster recovery, renewable energy, plastic pollution, port connectivity, etc. So I'd like to call Dr. Imadul Islam, and if you can briefly introduce yourself, Dr. Islam, to all of us. I'll
So
hand.
thank you so much. Thank you. Actually, when I joined in this webinar as a participant, but it's really great honor to me to give me floor to talk. And first of all, I would like to give the special thanks, Mr. Das, for his very incredible work. I would like to say incredible work because now the age of technology, and here is the Indian Ocean community that we call Great Middle Bay, and it's our opportunity. It's now facing the threat in climate change. Uh, so it's a really great work that is done by his center as a very prominent think tank, and the young researcher. Uh, I don't like to say the young researcher, the researcher. Uh, all of three is present very nicely actually because it's a short time, and they try to show us some innovative solutions in terms of the fishing and other you know. So I mean, yes, I must say thank you on behalf of Ocean Policy Research Institute, the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, Japan. So since Japan also, the key advocate of the idea of free and open in the Pacific. So we tried to promote the well-being and peace and security of these big communities. So we are working under this prominent think tank all over the world, including the what would I say in UN oceans and other IOC and other parameters in Arctic to polar and third pole countries. So I'm also working on this Indian Ocean for learning actually because we are commissioning the research. Again, it's called the Comprehensive Climate Impact Quantifications for assessing the both loss and damage in 6 island countries in Indian Oceans. So including also India, the Andaman and Nicobar in the Bay of Bengal. So Sri Lanka, Comoros, and Seychelles, Maldives. So and all these communities, we would like to uh, actually we found that the voice of these coastal communities in the Asia is not counted in the rest of other western part of the world. So we would like to also with all think tanks like Mr. Das is working. We would like under the Japan leaderships we have a plan because our mother foundation is Nippon Foundation. So we are going to organize a big event. It's called Island Summit in 2026. So in this research, actually, since ocean is very big and Indian Ocean also very big, so and the community here is very big, so everybody has the responsibility to actually ensure the welfare of these coastal communities. And I would like to say the special thanks to the world researcher and also the Mr. Das for inviting me to join in this auspicious moment. And hopefully we'll work together in the some point. And yes, collaboration is always open because this job is not actually for self; it's always together. So finally, I would like to say, together we would like to build a very peaceful Indian Ocean for welfare of the our own communities, and also send the message to the rest of the world that we are also the best to manage our shorelines, coastlines with our own technology. And finally, yes, it's definitely true that because even though nowadays we are talking about the AI, because Japan's talked about the AI is like 50 years ago, and then they stopped it actually because of the many other reasons. but the world politics and political economy has been changed drastically. There is no theory actually after this man from US, when he owned. So no theory is actually, we cannot prove it, or we cannot actually assume it. So now they are investing on the AI technology. So yeah, since India is leading on this ground, because India has a lot of IT expert. So if we can actually incorporate the ideas and innovations from this brilliant mind, and it's relevant to the, we call the ocean literacy or the ocean science in the Indian Ocean parameter, this could be really hopeful for these 3 billion populations. I would like to stop in here, and and I would like to give the special thanks to all researchers, all guests, and guests from the Philippines, and also Mr. Das. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Imadul Islam. Thanks for being a sport and giving this keynote address when asked. So with this, I think our streak of all the international speakers has ended, and we shall now move on to the next speaker. We are honored to welcome Captain Kapil Dev Behel for the keynote address. Captain Behel has an extensive experience in maritime safety and coastal management, and today he will address the larger picture of sustainability and resilience in the coastal areas. Captain Behel, over to you.
Thank you so much, Kumar Das, sir, for organizing this very wonderful webinar. It's been truly an eye-opener, and I'm so happy to see the researchers on the ground. This is what I believe, academic research in the laboratories and in offices need to now reach out to the ground level, and I'm so happy to hear this initiative. I'd like to summarize a few of my thoughts in this matter. I was pleasantly, or not pleasantly, but surprised to hear about the apparent non-awareness of government subsidies and policies among the fishing communities. I thought they were fairly well informed, what with grassroots level self-help groups all over the state. In fact, I got the impression that they were being misused, they were being over-capitalized, but nonetheless, some more research needs to be done so that if the communities at the bottom level are not aware, then perhaps some more education at the ground level needs to be done. And who better than research analysts and researchers, because you will merge both the spheres now. Now that you've had an interaction with the ground people, you're in a unique position. A bit of advice here. I'm so happy to hear the reach out to the communities, the coastal communities. It's very important to document this. This is the intangible culture. This is the intangible story that is often not documented. You are in a position to document. They'll never document it themselves. So there'll be a lot of literature on sensors, on remote sensing, on DGR, on CV. But the story of the fishermen and the story of the community, what they're going through, that has to be documented. Because the rest can always be recreated now with AI and a lot of other tools. But the story once lost from this community will be lost forever. And the new generations are not as switched on in the community as the older generation. I was looking at some of the difficulties that you very rightly highlighted, and I want to add a few. One of the key features that you need to work on in future is the seasonal condition of our, ocean-going work. We are a monsoon country. Indeed, our history of trade is so dependent on the monsoon, and so is our agriculture and our economy. But that means that the coastal communities really have a huge lack of continuity. And that needs to be documented in a manner where can we give them a year-long, employment? There is no business we can say 5 months of the year, there is no production and there is no employment. That won't work. Traditionally, of course, they were repairing their boats and nets, but this has to go beyond it now. Also, we require a year-long sustainable crop produce every month. We can't say 4 months there'll be nothing produced. So we need to look at how tools and AI can work on giving us a continuous yield throughout the year. And in this, some sustainable seeds are required. Every time the monsoon is over, we have short of seeds because there is nothing left in the seeds. Another very important thing that you need to look at in future is the aspect of zoning. You know, there is there's an underlying conflict between an area which is a prime fishing area and that which is suitable for seaweed. So some sort of zoning has to be done in a manner which is sustainable to both. Otherwise, you'll always have a near conflict situation. We are trying to get the coastal community to get engaged with this, but there has to be a demarcation. And that demarcation is possible with remote sensing tools, with the tools that you're working on with the APY, where you can say what areas are suitable for seaweed and what are not. You know, a small little thing I notice every time I go on the field, that because the community is similar, they are double banking the trawler boats for seaweed operations. So the trawler boats are not the most sustainable and economic for seaweed operation. They are meant for deep sea work, but because they don't have specialized boat, they do it. It's something that we need to look at in a sort of manner which is sustainable. I was so happy to hear some of the parameters that you looked at, the three parameters, especially salinity, pH, and temperature. But as you know, this is not going to be enough. There are a lot of other variables that need to go in to give you a yield, predictive analysis. And I was so happy to also hear our friends from Philippines, Professor Pamela and Professor Andrea. I totally appreciate the concern that they have voiced, especially Professor Andrea on the aggressive situation developing in South China Sea and the effect that is having. We understand this, the exclusive economic zone, which is so clearly demarcated, is sacrosanct, and we are very sorry to hear that. So this is something that the nations of the ocean Indian rim need to work on together in a sustainable manner. I was very happy to hear Dr. Islam mentioned about the Island Summit in 2026, and that is something that I look forward to knowing more about, and the Ocean Literature Program. Finally, of course, my sincere gratitude to MRC and the entire team there. I've spent my life at sea, and I keep telling people that I know the sea like most of the farmers on land know their crops. So I'm most comfortable when I'm in a boat or in sea. And I'm so happy to see all of you getting your feet wet and getting your sea legs. So that's something which I'm very enthused and happy to hear. My best regards for future endeavors, and thank you again.
Thank you very much, Captain Behel, for your inspiring words and for sharing your valuable insights with all of us. Next, I think before we close the webinar, because most of the primary presentations and keynote addresses we've come to a conclusion to, before we close, I would like to call Dr. Commander Arnab Das, Arnab sir, to share his thoughts before we can move on to Praful sir for the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nishtha. Thank you, everybody, all the speakers, and of course, our team members who have made excellent presentations. Just to add to what Behel sir, thank you very much for summing it up so well, and you've really taken your notes, and your comments will be extremely valuable for us to take things forward. Sir, I completely agree with you. I mean, we've just sampled 2 places, and that too for a very short time, and our inputs are not at a level that we can make strong declarations as far as you mentioned about knowing. But this was some of the thoughts we got. But you talked about the detailed reporting, sir. We, apart from Shlok and Shreya, who have gone to the ground and given their report, but my backend team, I mean, Shlok himself, Catherine, who looks at policy, and Nishtha, who looks at communication, they are also working on a very detailed report, which should be ready by this month end on the experience and the entire thing. And we will be definitely publicizing this. And of course, you will receive a copy of that, trying to look at it on a more strategic level. There is a lot of, I mean, as you mentioned, a lot of policy level interventions are required, apart from the tactical level interventions that are required at the ground level. So we are definitely working on it, and this is definitely just a beginning, sir. A lot of AI is being used now to predict. I mean, you mentioned about year-long initiative, but today with more and more data, we can probably predict the future for the year at least. I mean, that's what the modeling and simulation which Shlok presented will address. And the zoning is part of the MSP work that we are doing, sir. I mean, we didn't have so much time to talk about the entire. So the UDA framework that we have been working on again and again, we keep making presentations. It is all about the digital transformation and kind of multi-sectoral, multi-dimensional aspects will be covered, so that, I mean, everything is so much more interrelated. I mean, aquaculture fisheries are not independent. I mean, they are so much more interrelated. And of course, the communities are so much interrelated. So they all will be kind of taken care of. And I mean, I can only say that this is a beginning, sir. I mean, there is so much more to be done. I mean, this was one important dimension of coastal community interaction, which we wanted to present. Today's webinar, there were three main agendas of hosting this agenda. One is to highlight this whole issue of coastal management. I mean, where we are and what all needs to be done is one part. The second is to kind of emphasize how UDA can kind of work through this. And this is not just limited to the Indian Ocean. I mean, the whole tropical characteristic has to be, I mean, many of our global frameworks completely ignore the tropical characteristics. So that is the second important thing that we want to highlight. And the reason we have reached out to our friends in Philippines, and so grateful to Dr. Imadul Islam also to join in short notice and be part of it. So it's very important that we look at it holistically and kind of collaborate across multiple geographies so that we can take it forward. And I would also like to introduce my very dear friend, Dr. Pankaj Vashish from RIS. He could not join the first part of it, but he will definitely, we'll request him to participate. But Pankaj has just joined. He heads the India-ASEAN collaboration. I mean, RIS, as you know, is a think tank of the Ministry of External Affairs. And next year is 10 years of India-ASEAN partnership. So I had requested Dr. Pankaj to kindly join us today and give his views, but we will definitely, but today, because I think a lot of work has come up because of, the run up to the next year's celebration. So we will continue to connect with Dr. Pankaj and get his inputs. So I think I will stop here. My sincere thanks to all of you. I mean, Ashwin sir has left, but I'm sure Behel sir will convey our thanks to him. And Behel sir, thank you so much for your insightful remarks. And all this is recorded, and there will be also a report which my colleague Nishtha will come out at the end of, after this event. And Dr. Islam, thank you very much. Professor Mimi and Mr. Ledo, very grateful to you for giving a very insightful view. And I think these are very important voices which need to be heard. We were expecting some of our guests from the Indian coastal communities, but somehow for some reason they could not join. But their views will always be recorded in future in our reports, and in the detailed report they will be definitely included. So we'll take care of that. And I would now hand over to Nishtha.
We do have with us Pankaj Vashish, who is an associate professor and coordinator at the ASEAN India Center. So can we hear from him? His time now.
I think yeah, go ahead, sir.
No, I just want to apologize that due to some urgent meeting which came up unscheduled, I was not able to join you. But I look forward to engage with you in future. And as Anav sir has already mentioned, that next year India ASEAN is going to celebrate 2026 as the year of maritime cooperation. So definitely we look forward to do something jointly, because this is one area where I think both the sides have a lot to share with each other and learn from each other and navigate the challenges which are facing us. So once again, I extremely sorry that I was not able to join you in time. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Pankaj Vashish, for a very small joining us today. I think with this, we can hand over the mic to Praful Thalera sir, who is an advisor on blue economy for the Maritime Research Center, to do the vote of thanks for today's event on the topic enhancing coastal management.
Mr. You can go ahead and close. I think he has a connectivity problem.
All right, sir. So with this, I think we've come to an end of this particular webinar, and I'd like to especially thank Ayush, Shreya, and Shlok for making wonderful presentations. Professor Mimi Fabe and Ms. Andrea Toledo from Philippines for especially joining us for this particular webinar and sharing their insights from the Philippines perspective. And of course, Dr. Imadul Islam from the Sasakawa Foundation for sharing his kind remarks and the future collaboration that his organization sees with the Maritime Research Center. So thanks to everyone, and hope to see you in the next webinar that we host. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nishta. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.